Hey guys, Rich here. Welcome back to the RCINFORMER YouTube channel. In today's video, I have for you guys a complete unboxing and assembly of the all-new Aeros Hobby twin 64mm 6S powered F-15 Eagle. This is coming from HOBBYZONE, and this is their second jet. Twin engine jet, I should say, in the lineup coming from HOBBYZONE in their Aeros brand. This is a beautiful flying airplane. Both of these are twin 64mm 6S retractable gear, flaps, rods, horns, linkages installed, and they assemble with just a few screws and a little bit of glue, and you're like up and flying a really sweet airplane. These are full-featured jets, folks, but they're just really miniaturized, and the twin 64mm fans are really cool. If you guys want to check out the videos on the MiG, they're available on the RCINFORMER YouTube channel. Also, once we get these F-15 videos out, the flying videos for you guys, which will come next, we'll put those on the channel as well, and they'll also be available to you guys right here on the video when I get them done. In the upper right-hand corner of this screen, if you guys click on that white information card, the circle, which it'll highlight right now probably because I'll put one there, you click that, it'll drop down up to 5 videos that are linked in the series on the F-15 and the MiG for you guys to check out for sure. So anyway, guys, we do appreciate the support. In the link below, guys, if you guys click on our links to purchase the airplane, if you guys want to get one, that's a great way to support our channel at no cost to you guys. When you click on that link below and it takes you to the product page, you put one in your cart and purchase it. That supports our channel at no extra cost to you guys, and we really do appreciate that. Otherwise, to help us out, folks, just like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Hitting that notification bell will send the latest videos that we put out right to you. It'll give you that alert if you activate those notifications. And we've recently learned that if you guys hit the like button, if you guys hit that like button, what that does is it sets off the YouTube algorithm, and it allows our videos to be shared with even more people and really helps us grow. So that's what you guys can do for us for free, and we really do appreciate it. So anyway, guys, let's get this thing out of the box. I'm going to show you guys how this thing is going to look coming out of the box. It's a beautiful airplane, this thing. I am going to be putting this probably on the NX6, which is the latest, you know, coming from Horizon Hobby. And then we're also going to be running it on 6S packs. The 3200 and the 4-cell from Spektrum. These are the two that I ran in this, and they worked perfectly, so I'm kind of assuming they're going to fit in here, but we'll mess around with it as we get to this thing. I hope you guys are ready, because this thing is sweet, folks. Let me pull this thing out of here, get the top off. It's a double layer box, and yes, I did have this out before. You can see what we got there. It's 900 millimeters of wingspan, length is 1345, so 53 inches long, 2280 kV motors, twin 40 amp ESCs, and let's see, 9 9-gram servos. So there's 9 servos in this thing. 6-channel. There's your CG, 12-blade 64 fans, and then it says a 22 3300 packs. Again, we'll try the 4000 out and kind of see how that goes. But look at this thing. This thing is smoking. I mean, look at that airplane. It's just beautiful. The decals that they put on this thing are really just out of this world, folks. So let's get the box down here and let's get everything out. You guys can see right here. I'm going to try to do this without spilling everything out of the box, but that's how it comes essentially. I already cut the tape, so I'm going to try to pull. In fact, let me flip it around this way. Little error on there. We'll pull everything out of here. It's a double layer box. We'll pull all the parts out so you guys can see how this looks. It's super, super nice. The fit, the finish, you can see the rods, the horns, the ball links, everything is on there. The decals are all applied. The wingtip is just out of this world. We'll get close on. Let me get all these out of here, and then we'll put them up close so everybody can see all the parts. You can see how simple of an airplane this is. It's got the 2 wings. These just bolt on. There's screws. There's 2 underneath where you put these things together. So let me get that down. We'll get our. This is kind of neat. It's a drop tank with missiles and attached to it and everything, or an external tank, I should at least say. That's kind of neat. It's kind of weird to me to have missiles next to a drop tank, because you'd think that, you know, maybe to blow up the tank with all that rocket blast. But you know, anyway, there you go. There's what that looks like. We'll get these horizontals. The horizontals are where we're going to glue on. We're going to use either CA or foam tack, you know, to get that in place. Let's get the next one out of here. Very cool, very nice. Fit and finish is awesome. We're going to get close on everything, guys. Don't worry. Let me get the top of this off. We'll zoom in and show everybody really all the nice detail of this thing. Get this part out of here. Get this laid out. And here's how we're looking. I'll drop that down there. Here's how we're looking on the fuselage. Look how nice that thing looks. In fact, I'm going to raise my desk up here. I have an electric desk. Let me pull this thing off of here. I'll pull this thing up here so everybody can see how nice this is. It's just awesome. I mean, look at the color on it. You can see the vertical fin down low there. Here, let's see. Let me do a little zoom in here. Little magic happen. Look how nice that is, just coming out of the box like that. Look back here at the motors and how the detail is on that. Again, we'll get close on it here, but I just wanted you guys to see how this looks in the double-deckered box that it's in. So let's pull this thing out of here. You can see the fuselage is just going to pull right out of the top here, and how mammoth that is. One nice piece. We'll get close on everything, and let's put this right down on the table for everybody. Yeah, really nice, really nice. There's our nose cone, which that's going to go right on here. Let me stick that on the front. Get that lined up. Now, which way is that going? There it is, right on the front. That's all magnetic. And then we got a spar right here. That just comes right out. We got our instruction manual here. Pull that. That's right in the bottom here. All right, let's get this. Get these verticals. These are sweet, folks. This is a nice airplane. They really did a nice job. We're going to get close on this. Look at the detail on that. This is the Oregon National Guard paint job. It's very, very cool. So, and I think that's it for the parts, folks. I think that's it. I'm going to drop this down here. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at everything in detail. Here's the layout of all the parts. Bear with me because this is a new format I tried last time that a lot of guys said they like this format. I just need to streamline it a little, so I'm working on the streamlining part of it. So, but here you go, guys. This is all the parts. Main fuselage is up here. It's got your two fans in it, your two motors in it, your two speed controllers, your landing gear is all mounted and ready to go. The nose cone, as we saw, it's just magnetic, folks. It's got a magnet right in there, and it just goes on like most of the modern, RC foam jets are. And we've got your other parts here. We've got two verticals, which I actually put one back there. We've got two wings right here. They're ready to be screwed on. And then we've got your horizontal stabilizers. Your horizontals and your verticals are what we glue. The wings screw in, and then your drop tanks here, or your external tanks, these just snap in. It's really pretty darn simple the way they go in. And then of course you've got your wing spar and an instruction manual. That's it. So they've done like all the work for you guys. It's really easy to get this thing going together. But just to review all the parts, we're going to get in on everything for everybody. I'll grab my zoom lens here so everybody can see. Here's a good look at your horizontal surface and how nice that is. Let me back off just a little bit. We'll just review all the parts here and everything. The fit and finish on this thing is outstanding. In fact, I'll zoom even further on it so you guys can see. Look at the level of finish on this. You can't see a single blemish in this thing. There may be a couple here and there, but for the most part, the fit and finish is outstanding. You can see your rod, horn, and linkage. You can also see right over here, you could see a real hinge. It's not a foam hinge. They put a plastic hinge in there, and as I move it this way, you can see there's two of them in there, and they're buried. They're very difficult to see, but you can see they're in there, and now we have a nice hinge back here. Even though it's not a flying tail, which we really don't need, we now have a proper plastic hinge, but you can see here your rod, your horn, your linkage, all of that stuff is already installed. This is a sticker on here, so you can see it's very nicely applied. You can see right here, we've got your spar tube pocket. Here, let me back out a little bit. Sorry for that, guys. I'm just learning how to use my computer better this way, or my camera this way. But you can see it's got a spar tube really running the length of this. You can see the spar pockets. And then here's your gluing surface. Here's another nice thing that they're doing over here at Arrows, is that they're not painting your glue surface. They're actually they're actually masking it at the factory so you don't get a whole bunch of paint on it. So when you glue this thing together, you're actually gluing you know, foam to foam and not paint to paint. A lot of times manufacturers put paint here, they put paint on the underside. In fact, the other surface here, this is the one that's going to go on this side. It's literally just going to glue right in there. But when they remove that paint for us, it's really awesome because we don't have to remove it ourselves with tape. So man, that's just so nice to skip that step of having to remove all the paint. But anyway, folks, look at these vertical surfaces. These are simply awesome. Now this is a big sticker on here, but holy smokes, look at the nice colorful, you know, Oregon National Guard detail on there. You can see the foam and the sticker seam there and how nice that is. I'm giving you guys a super close-up, but you usually don't get at most places. I try and give you guys the up close on this thing, and you can see how nice that is. Rod, horn, linkage, all that stuff is already installed for you. You can see how nice that is. Your linkage is right there. Its ball link is on there. The whole thing's ready to go. And there's our Oregon Air National Guard sticker. Everything's very nicely applied. The finish is just awesome on this thing. Also, folks, when you make your connections, when you do your connection right here, make sure you check all your connections, make sure they're tight. I did a video of how to tighten your connections. I'll put a link in the upper right hand corner of the screen. You guys can check that out. Also, I'll put it down below. I'm going to start putting that down below because I have a couple quick tip videos I've been making recently, and tightening all your connections is the way to go before you go fly these airplanes. It takes you 2 seconds to do it with something skinny like a hobby knife or something, and that's definitely a real good way to go. But man, holy smokes, the beauty of this model, folks, it's awesome. And then the wing, check this out. Let's get in on this thing. I mean, the detail on this is just super awesome. I'll give you guys here the close-up here. Look at that. That's all mostly a sticker. In fact, actually, this part is paint, this light color gray that's like right up here. But the rest of this is actually an applied sticker that they did at the factory. And you can see the other side as well. It's ready to go. Again, folks, rods, horns, linkages, all already installed. I mean, it doesn't get too much better than this. I mean, they did just a beautiful job on this. Here's where your tanks are going to go, right down here. In fact, I'll take one of these tanks. I don't honestly know which one actually goes on which side, but we're gonna install one. You can see right here how it's going to go together. You literally just take this thing, pop it in place. Hopefully I got the correct side. I'm not 100% sure, but that's it. That's how your drop tank or your wing tank goes on. It's really that simple to do, and you can fly with or without these things, folks. So, you know, really nice how that goes on there. I'll pull that off. Again, just push it forward a bit, slide it off. Real positive lock, real nice locks. Again, rods, horns, linkages. I'm not sure if this one's got hinges or not. It may or may not. Let's flip it down this way. I don't think this one does, actually. These are actually foam hinges on this one. You can see down in here. Let me get close in on that. You can see, but they are all laminated, folks. Nice thing is the gaps are gone, you know, when you have a foam hinge like that. And in fact, here, let me move this up a bit and see if we can see down in there into that flap. That one might have a mechanical. No, it actually looks like it's just glue, I think. Let me look in there real quick. Yeah, there's just glue in there. But what it is it's just a regular foam hinge, but they're all laminated, so. But real nice. And then the wingtip on this thing is pretty awesome. Let me straighten these things out. You want to be careful doing this because you can strip a servo doing this. You just want to be real careful. But look at the wingtip lights on this thing. Look how nice this thing is. I'm going to get real tight on this for everybody if I can. Look at that. That is simply awesome how nicely they did that. Look at that lens cover. I'll get that towards the camera. They did a killer job on that with the decal application and everything. That's a really super bright Cree light that they put in there. Just awesome wingtip on this. Real impressed, folks. And then when you plug this in, you do have a connection right in here. You've got to sort of pry it out, or here, I'll pull this out of place. You can see it's got a flap and it's got an aileron line. I think that's all that's in there. I don't think there's, yeah, the light line is actually combined. You can see right here. They actually combine the wing light right in here. Let me get that into the middle with the flap. So the wing is combined, but super nice plugins, folks. You basically just put your wing on here with your spar. Spar is going to go through the middle right there, and then we're going to go ahead, once that goes in there, we're going to slide our wing right on, and then we have two screws that go through the bottom. One right here and one right down here that you can see. So two connections to make, and that's it, folks. You've got this entire thing together. As I decided to clear away the other parts and give you guys like really a close-up of this thing and what this thing looks like. Isn't that slick? I mean, it is a really neat airplane. They did such a nice job on the decal package. You can see over there on the gun port on the wing root. And what we'll do is we'll take this thing off the stand here and give you guys a really good close-up of this. I'm just going to pull it off of the Ernst stand. I got links to the Ernst stands down below, folks. Ernst Manufacturing makes a really great desktop stand. Notice I can put all my junk, all my glue in there so my glue doesn't tip over. So get an Ernst stand, folks. They are really, really cool. But folks, check this out. Look how nice of a model this thing is. The level of detail on this is just outstanding. They did such a killer job. These scoops right here on the real F-15, they change angle, I think, due to speed, angle of attack, all that kind of stuff. They're fixed on this, and they're fixed down a little bit. And I think that normally this comes right off the top when you see it, I think, in high-speed flight. So I think when you're at high angles of attack, they lower down to get more air in there. So the engines don't stall out or anything. So, but they're fixed in that configuration, and I think they did that so it takes off and lands, getting more air in it and so forth. So, but really nice model overall, folks. Check this out. We'll get in here on, we'll zoom in on everything, and we'll kind of run down the line here. You can see the front of this thing, and look at all those antennas on there. The antennas on that thing are just awesome. Check that out. They're already installed. You don't need to glue any of those. They're already there in place. And then as we come across the nose, this is the coolest thing. And we'll get the landing gear down for everybody to really check out. But look at the mechanism in there. The actual retract servo is very much like the FMS Tiger Cat. The retract mechanism is up front. And what it does is it drives that over-center brace that you can see in there. And the wheel, the landing gear actually pivots off of this back part. So your gear mechanism is actually up front, and it drives the over-center. So this actually has a functioning over-center brace to drive the gear, just like a full-scale airplane. So all machined aluminum landing gear. Really nice all the way around. As we go across the bottom, you can see the detail, machined aluminum main struts. We've got our intake. There's definitely some cheater holes down here for ESC and everything. Cool everything down. And then here's your fan hatch covers, 2 screws to get those off, or 4. I think that probably comes off in one piece. But as I roll around to the back of this thing to show you guys this thing, I'm going to take the nose cone off so I don't ding that. But look at the engine detail on this thing. There's your twin Outrunner motors right there. And then let's take a look at the engine detail. Look how nice this thing is right here. They really went to quite a bit. Actually, I got a bad angle here. Let me switch that, folks. They went to quite a bit of a length to machine this thing, or they either molded it. It could even be a 3D printed part. I'm really not sure, but look at the decal on those, detail on the engine nozzles. They just did a tremendous job on that. None of that plasticky stuff. It's pretty solid. It's pretty rugged. I mean, it's like a hard plastic, so you're definitely not going to have to worry about those melting. I know the MiG-29. The MiG-29 had plastic tail cones, and if they were in the sun too much, you could actually melt those things. So, but looking in the back here, here's your connections for your vertical. Your verticals will glue right into here. We'll either use foam tack or thin CA. I think I'm going to use foam safe CA on this time around, because that's a real tight fit, and trying to get a sticky glue in there is going to be kind of really kind of hard to do. And then here's your wing connections right through here. You've got your spar tube slot right here. Your 2 connections for your ailerons and your flaps, and then of course you've got your screws, which are, and I'm going to zoom in really close on that. You can see we've got actually metal threads there. So I'm not sure if I can actually see that. Let me see if I can pull that this way. I'm learning the maneuvering here, folks. There they are. There's your metal threads, folks, in there. So you've got nice machine screws tapping into there, and real nice. But look at the decals. The decals are everywhere on this thing. This whole underside thing is a decal. I don't think any of that thing is painted. That's all actually it's a sticker that they put on there. And then up front here you've got your 173rd fighter wing, very cool decal. And another feature that's awesome, folks, that they're doing on a lot of these modern planes now is all of these intakes now are plastic. The leading edges of everything are plastic, so you can't ding them. In the old days, these thin parts, they used to be made out of foam, and then you could trash them real easy. It was horrible. And then our nose sticker. Let's get in on that a little bit. The nose decal on this, which I was tight at the beginning, but look at this thing. Look how totally cool that thing is. Look at the decal on there. It's all just one big sticker that they put in place, but you can't beat that. That's pretty sharp. That's a great level of detail. There's the beauty about this is there's so much little work you have to do to get this airplane up and flying. It's pretty awesome. So top of the airplane, you've got an antenna here. This is your actual canopy latch to get the canopy off. But look at this thing, folks. Look at the detail on that. Panel lines, stickers applied. Just really cool. That's the top side. And again, we'll do another bottom shot so everybody can kind of see, you know, how nice that looks, and the detail, the level of detail. And the elevators just go on the bottom, and everything. So really, really sweet. Metal trunnions, of course, guys, right here. These are all metal trunnion gear. So, I mean, this should be a good grass field jet. We'll try it out. We'll probably fly it off the grass probably first time, and we'll kind of see. I know the MiG-29, same size wheels on the MiG, and it flew great off of grass as well. So check out those videos, guys. It's just not a problem. This plane should have plenty of power. So anyway, guys, I think that's about it. I think it's now time to, what we'll do, guys, is we will do for everybody just a real basic assembly. We'll put this thing together so you guys can see how easy it is. The first part of the assembly process is just getting our wings on. I got both of them here. I've got the wing spar. Be sure you guys do not throw your box out, and here's why. Don't be in a hurry to do it. I overlooked my screws because there really aren't too many, and they're buried right in this hole. So, you know, do not throw your box out, because if you do, you might be screwed, or actually you may not be screwed if you throw your box out. So anyway, just be cautious with that, folks. It's the one thing I kind of overlooked, and it's just one tiny bag, and yeah, you want to make sure that you can get screwed by keeping these. So here we go. Let's get these out of the bag. There's just 4 of them. They gave you actually a spare. So to get this wing on, it's pretty simple, and it's a very tight fitting spar. I'm just going to slide this on, and it gets in there. I have to twist it a little bit because it's tight, and that's actually a good thing. You want to have a tight spar to get this thing on with. You want it to be nice and tight. And there we go, that's nice and level. You can also see another feature they put on here, folks, that they've been doing with a lot of these airplanes that lately, really coming from HOBBYZONE and other places, is they've got latches on them already. You can see you don't need to wrap tape around them anymore. You don't need to, you know, grab a plastic clip or something. They already have locking tabs. So that's really, really nice that they're doing that for everybody. And then here we go. We'll stick this wing on. We'll just line that up, slide it in place. And then we'll get these things together. We'll take our flap line, we'll connect our flap to our flap. Let's get that in place. There goes one click. And let me see if I can zoom in on one of these for you guys. Let's get that in place. Here, hang on, it's not really going in there great. There we go, perfect, okay. And I'll get in on that so everybody can see how that fits. You can see here how that thing will just snap into place. As I tighten this thing up, it just locks in. So we'll see if we can get another view of that again. It's very nice how that goes in. Let's get our link established here. I'll pop that in place. We'll see if I can get a profile there, a side view. You can see how, here we go. We'll get it lined up this way. And let's see, I'm trying to get that. That's tough to get lined up. There we go. You can see how when I connect this together, let me get it on a light part, it'll actually snap together. So once it locks in, make sure that thing is clipped together well, and you're ready to put this thing on. So from there, we're just going to stuff all that stuff into the hole. Let's see if we can get that all in there. Some will go in here, and some will go into this side, and then we'll get everything together. You can see here, folks, I have most of the wiring tucked down in here. It's a little bit of a challenge doing this on camera, and but you have to put most of it into the wing because there's actually a tube in here that it all gets stuck on. So once you get most of it in here, your entire wing, should go on there really nicely. You slide it in place, and then we just put the screws on the underside. Now here's just a tip for getting your wires in place. If you have to, grab some sort of a very blunt kind of a tool, and very carefully just start tucking everything in there. You don't want to have anything sharp, okay, when you're putting this in here. But it's a good idea if you can get most of your wires in here to start off with, and then once they're in there like this, then it'll make it a little easier to make your connections, and then the rest of the connectors are actually going to fit right in there. You can see here with your wing side pre-packed with your connectors, you can see that it makes it a lot easier to go on. You really, again, can't put any connectors up there because there's actually a tube in there to receive everything. But once you have the wing packed like that with your wires and your connectors, your wing will go on nicely. From here, with the wing fully seated, there's simply 2 screws to put in. One here, which I already put in, and the other one up front here. If you have to, you may need to grab the wing and push it in a little bit to make sure that those holes line up. Once they line up, you should be able to tighten this thing. It might help to get a friend or somebody to help you push that on there. But once it's on there, that wing is installed, and you just repeat for the other side. Now that we've got the wing fully installed on the airplane, it's time to put the tail on this. Now, both of your verticals go on first, your 2 horizontals go on next, and you glue them in there. It's going to take some CA, some foam safe CA to put on there because there's such a tight fit. Foam tack isn't probably going to work in there because foam tack is kind of thick, and there's probably not the space to put it in there. So CA is going to be the thing to glue these on. Now, 2 things I highly recommend when you glue these, before gluing these tails on. Let me say it again, before gluing the tails on. 1, make sure your electrical contacts are really, really tight. Now, I did a video on that. I talked about that earlier. You guys know it's called Save Your Plane or something like that. It's on my channel. I'll put a link to it in the upper right-hand corner of the screen and in the description below. And it shows you how to take those 3 electrical contacts and tighten them up because there's 2 female ends that you can squeeze together, get them a little tighter so you have a good electrical contact. The reason for that is once you glue these in, you're kind of burying those connectors in there. And once they're buried, they're hard to check again. So you want to make sure the electrical contacts are really tight before you glue these things on. Number 2, you want to check your servos, test them, make sure they're working with a servo tester. And if you really want to go the extra mile, connect everything just like I did here. Here's our vertical. I just did a dry fitting of everything with my contact right here. Everything's connected, and it's a very, very, very tight fit. And in fact, if that little connector moves the slightest bit out of place, it won't go back in place. So again, before seeing this in, connect everything and test your servos from here. If you link everything up and connect everything like I have here, in fact, I took my rudders, I took my elevators, I took both of them, all 4 of them, and I connected it to my servo tester at the same time. You can do them individually, but if you want to, you can just do them together. And you can see I'm actually testing them right now. I have them all plugged in to make sure my servos are working, make sure they're not binding. Again, you can test them one at a time, make sure there's no stripped servos, because again, once you glue these servos in place, it's going to be hard to pull the servo out and get to that contact to change your servo. So again, guys, 1, make sure your connectors are tight, and 2, make sure you test your servos from the front. So you're testing your servo and your entire electrical line all the way up to the front, and you'll be sure that everything will work when you finally have everything assembled. Also, before gluing, I did notice that there were a few areas here on the side that they didn't actually remove some of the paint. The underside they did right here, but some of it they didn't. So it's probably not a bad idea to take some packing tape, which I've started to do here, and on these areas where there's still some paint. Again, rather than gluing paint to paint, it's a good idea to remove, as much of this stuff as you can, and that way, you'll mostly be gluing foam to foam. You can see here it sometimes takes a little while to do all this, and sometimes you need a tougher tape. Now, if you can't get it all off, don't worry about it. You can still glue it together. It's still going to bond fairly well, but it always makes for a better bond if you can, get as much of that off as you can. When it comes time to gluing on the tail, we're actually going to glue the, I know I said it wrong earlier, we're going to glue on the horizontal first. And then we're going to glue on the verticals in that order. So you might be able to get away with it the other way, but I figured I'll just follow the instructions in this case. So you can see here I found out what all the contact surface areas are. We don't want any in here because this is where the connector is going to actually go. But we do want some here. We want some all along here, and then along this edge. So what I'm going to do to start this off is I'm going to be using thin CA to put it on. But what I want to do is I want to put a little dab of foam tack right here. Not very much, just a little tiny bit, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that to hold my connector down. So what's going to happen is we're going to put this connector in place down here and just get it get the glue on it and get it so it's sort of tacky and it's staying in place. I'm going to lift it up. I'm going to put it back down again. Okay, I'm going to do that a couple of times. Let's see if I can get it back down there. And then get that glue sort of tacky. So what's going to happen is we're going to glue this with CA now that it's starting to get tacky, and I should be able to stick that right down and it'll stay in place. From there, I'm going to give it a minute or two and let that get all tacked up, and then I'm going to take my my foam safe CA and I'm going to put that all on the kind of the cross-hatched areas that I did. And then once it's all on there, the next thing I'm going to do is just right away take this piece, the connector, tack it down, and then put our glue in place, Then what I should be able to do is use that foam tack there to get that connector to stay down in place, so when I put this in place, I don't have to worry about that connector being in the way. We have to view from this side underneath to make sure we're not pinching any wires. But that's really it. We're just going to apply CA to it at that point, make sure the connector doesn't get pinched in there, and that'll put our horizontal stabilizer in position. Here's a quick look at the finished product. The horizontal stabilizers went on perfectly using the foam safe CA, this Zappo stuff, shockproof. Use what you like, and I think I mentioned thin CA, but you want to really use medium, or this foam safe stuff from Zappo or Zap. It's actually kind of like it's not super thin. It's not quite gap filling either, but it's like a little thicker than thin, so it's actually perfect for foam models. So but as you can see, it went on really nice. This thing bonded well. All of the seams turned out fantastic, and it wasn't a mess, so don't use too much glue to avoid messes. You can see here I also did get rid of the paint. I took off as much as I could on all the contact areas. In fact, I actually need to remove this little square here before I do it. I missed that spot. I even took it off the sides here as much as I could. And then the verticals, same thing. I removed as much as I could off of there, as you can see, and cleaned it up. So we have foam touching foam, not paint touching paint, because the paint, gluing to paint, it kind of keeps it, it kind of ruins the structural integrity if you don't get as much off as you can. But this is the best way to glue it together. So what we're going to do is same as we did before, and I'm going to do this off camera because it's really a fast glue job you got to do. You only have one shot at really getting this right, because CA bonds really quickly, so you have to work kind of quick, and especially since we have such a large surface area, we got to kind of do it quick and then get the vertical on. Now I usually will use an acid brush, and I will often you'll destroy the brush by using it, so use something that you can discard. But I'll put the glue in here first, just like we did with the horizontal. We'll get it all in here, and if I need to just brush it around a little bit, I will, just to spread it really quick. And then what I will do in advance of that is I'll actually put a little foam tack down here, just like we did before, just in this slot, because we don't want any glue down in this rectangular pocket. And we're going to do a couple practice runs where we get that connector. Let me get on that. We'll get that connector down in here, and we'll do a couple practice runs where when the glue's in there, we're ready to put it down, and it goes down in place, and the whole thing, just seats really nicely. If we don't get those wires tucked away, because we really got to look right under here as we're doing it, we need to make sure that that connector goes into that rectangular pocket there without pinching the wires, and we have to do it right pretty much the first time. So if you do a couple practice runs of this, making sure it's there, and again, put a little dab of foam tack down there so it gets tacky and that thing will lock in place, then you'll be able to get this thing in place in one shot. Also underneath, you want to make sure that down here it actually bonds correctly. You want to make sure that that all goes down into place as you're doing this. So and then you'll be good to go. So with that, folks, I'll go ahead and glue this on, and we'll move on to the next step. Okay, folks, here's the finished product. Everything went on really well using the CA. All the joints worked out real nicely. One set of comments I'll give y'all as you're putting this on. Again, you have to work quickly, and when you put your rudder in place, push it down and forward as best you can because you want to minimize your gap there. I did run a bead of CA down here just so it would seep down into there. And then you also have to act again very fast underneath, you know, to press this part right here down, because if you don't, it could be out of alignment, and once the CA makes contact, it makes contact and it's in place. So again, do some practice runs like I talked about. You know, so you have sort of a plan when you're putting this on, because it's a very large gluing area. And if you don't practice, you know, getting these, do a couple practice runs, dry runs without glue, getting it on, then once you get the glue, once the glue bonds, it bonds and you're kind of stuck where you are. So, but anyway, you can see how nice this is, and the rudders went on just beautifully. Now, one last tip I have for everybody is prior to gluing your horizontal stabilizers on, which we did just a couple steps ago, it's not a bad idea to just remove your hatch cover. And what that'll do is that'll prevent you from gluing it down. There is a little area here, there's a little area here where when you glue your horizontal stabilizer on, you could get some into this corner of the hatch cover, and possibly, you know, the glue could wick in there and glue your hatch cover in position. So when you have to get into your fan hatch cover, you may be doing some prying and foam damaging and that kind of stuff. So it's also a real good opportunity to actually inspect your motor wires. Make sure that some of them didn't wiggle loose during shipping. Make sure they didn't pull apart, which does happen sometimes. So anyway, just a good idea to check that out while you're in there. And then when your tails are already on, you can put your fan hatch cover back in place and move on to the next step. With the tail on the airplane, the final parts of assembly are what we've actually done already, which is really just putting the nose cone on, and then the optional, you know, fuel tanks and rockets, and all we do is just put those in position in their little locking tabs and slide them on. So that's pretty much it, guys, for the major construction of the airplane. Now it's time to just power it up, get the receiver and battery in, and get it ready for flight. Now the last part of setting up the model is getting our wiring and everything all set up inside the nice canopy. And part of the review that I didn't really show you before was how nice this canopy is. It has a real nice latch back here to get your canopy on and off. Canopy is real nice. Your pilot's backed up with some screws here. There's also a little ventilation here. So cockpit and canopy are really nice, but when that comes off, you can see here there's a hard plate right here. What this is what's mounting the forward retract mechanism, which I'll show you here shortly. And then in here, you have all your wiring and everything's ready to go. And yes, guys, an EC5 connector. It's kind of about time. The cockpit here is laid out all real well. There's 2 straps for the battery, so I'm real impressed with that. There is Velcro down here at the bottom for your batteries. And as you guys know, I usually don't like to use Velcro. That's my personal preference, so I'll probably put some shelf liner down in here, which I'll show you. And there's literally just a few screws down in here that you can unscrew and take the battery floor out. You can see here with the 4 screws removed, we should be able to get the battery tray. Oop, just lost a screw. You got to be careful about that. And you can see how nice the battery tray comes out. I'm real impressed actually with this. They did a really nice job on this battery tray, being able to remove it with just these 4 screws here. And you got your Velcro already supplied, you know, for your battery. So of course what I'm going to do is again remove this and put some shelf liner on there. Keep in mind that this step is my own personal preference. Most do use their Velcro. They take this off, put it on your battery, and you can secure your battery down here, but you know I like to use my shelf liner. So by taking just a piece of shelf liner like this that I used double-sided Scotch tape on, and I pre-cut it so it measures here, I'm going to just put this, I'm going to tack this down to my battery floor, push it in position, and then I'll be ready to reinstall this. It does cover one of the screw holes or 2 of the screw holes here, so I'll just kind of cut through that, or I'll just cut a little bit out with a hobby knife and then secure this back down with the screws. Also, before you put it down there with the screws, if you notice way down in there, those 4 screw holes, it's a great opportunity to take your ultra watery here thin CA and put a drop or 2 in those holes of the threads down there so you reinforce the threads. They don't do this at the factory for you. So in either case, it's a good idea to remove your battery floor, whether you use the shelf liner or not. and toughen those threads, because they just tap into the wood, and that doesn't give your screw, it gives it some bite, but if you have to take it in and out a couple times, you'll end up ruining the threads. But if you let the wood soak up a little bit of ultra thin watery CA in there, it'll make your threads tighter, and then you can just put the battery floor back in, and you can know that it's going to be secured in there a whole lot better. And that pretty much concludes the battery floor installation with my shelf liner in there. Again, guys, use Velcro if you like it, but if you like the shelf liner in there, this is the way to go. The rest of this, guys, as far as getting the receiver in place and the arrangement of the battery and everything, we'll be talking about that during the flight demo. So for now, I'm going to find the landing gear wire. We're going to plug this into a servo tester and get the landing gear down. With the servo tester connected, we can go ahead and cycle the landing gear. Let's go ahead and do it. There's your landing gear coming down. Really nice twist and turn retracts on the main landing gear. You can see right here they've got really nice compression. They're a little tight at first, but they are lubricated. Also, this is a good opportunity, folks. Take your foam tack and put it on your E-rings to secure them in place. One here, 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 and here. There's 3 of them there. Same on the nose gear. There's actually one right here. There's one right here, and there's even one on the nose wheel itself. If you guys haven't seen that video, just check it out. It's on my channel. It's a quick tip about how to save your gear. But just awesome retractable landing gear. Let me drop it, put it up one more time, see how it looks like. And check out the nose gear with the driven over center brace. Let's put that back out. And y'all can see the mechanism is actually right in here. Very much kind of like FMS's Tiger Cat. The motor is here instead of being back here. And it actually drives this all aluminum over center brace for a really liquid smooth action. Let's look at that from the front. You guys can see how that looks. Check that out. Very, very cool. Very scale F-15 like retract system on this thing. Just awesome, guys. Totally awesome landing gear. Okay, guys, the Eagle is rising on the lift, ready for action. Just about, but there's a nice front shot of the airplane, folks. This is a really sweet airplane, folks. This is, again, coming from HOBBYZONE. I'll put the links in the description below. If you guys click on our links in the description and you add it to your cart and purchase one, that supports our channel. We really do appreciate it, guys. This is just one awesome airplane. I mean, it fit together. Fit and finish was outstanding. I did hook up a little wire here just going through the nose wheel well with a servo tester, just so I could show you guys the lights. That's a really cool angle. I mean, look at that thing. The landing gear is awesome. But anyway, take a look at the lights here, folks. I wanted to set this up so everybody could see the brightness of that green wingtip light right there. And then same thing with the other side. It's got a red one on the other side. I think those are the only lights that I know of, but you can see how bright those are and how slick. This is an awesome airplane, folks. They really got this thing right. I'm real impressed with it. The gun detail on it is awesome. The decal application is awesome. You can see that gun port. Let me see if I can zoom in on that gun port right there. Look at the detail on that thing. They really killed it right here. Look at that thing right there. And then of course you've got the Eagle artwork on the nose, which is basically a big sticker they stuck on there. It's really, really cool. Just a nice model. The landing gear is out of this world tough. I even think it's going to be able to handle grass fine. It's very strong gear. The nose gear is the nose gear is a little bit, the nose wheel is a little small, but I think this is going to handle grass just fine. The landing gear, you know, seems super tough, aside from being kind of a narrow stance. But, you know, the MiG in the background, we got videos of the MiG on the grass, and it flew great, touch and goes and everything on the grass. I don't see why this can't handle that either. Besides the nose gear itself, as you guys know, as we saw in there, this thing is a pretty tough over center brace. Let me see if I can do this without knocking the plane off the table. I almost did that a second ago. But right here, folks, this gear strut is just out of this world. It's tough, and this over center brace is pretty strong, so it's going to keep this thing from moving anywhere. And again, it's really strong. It's really tough. This thing should be able to take some serious abuse and so forth. So if you have a well-groomed grass runway like we have at our field, this should roll on it fine. So stay tuned for that, guys. We'll get those flight demos out. Also, just the construction of this was awesome. I like the way that all the antennas are on here already. I can kind of zoom in a little there. Look at all that all the antennas that they put on the nose of this thing that are already on there. I really love these scoops here that are all plastic on the leading edge all the way around the thing, and they're just very tough, so you can't ding them. But the tail on this thing here, let me spin the tail around here. This thing built so easy, folks. It was like, as you could see from, you know, the wings went on with 4 screws simply, and then the tail is the only part that really needs some gluing, and then everything else is either a magnet, you know, or a latch to put on this thing. But the tail was awesome. In fact, at first putting this thing on, let me lower this just a little bit. Putting the tail on at first, it seemed a little bit like maybe this area was, maybe this whole area back here was weak, but it's not. In fact, this tip here is plastic, and then once you put the lower on, the horizontal stabilizer, and then once you put the vertical in place, this whole thing turns into like a box frame back here, and this whole tail section is super tough. So once you get past those 4 glued parts, this whole thing, yeah, it just goes together. I mean, you're done with it pretty much. It's very, very cool. So the detail's awesome. The stickers are cool. I love what they did to these vertical surfaces. Here, let me zoom in on those. Let me lower my desk just a little bit so we can kind of see how that looks. They did a killer job on the tail of this thing. I mean, look at the decal package back there. I mean, it's just awesome. That Oregon National Guard, those stickers back there are just out of this world. Look at that engine detail. They really got that engine detail right. Look at that. Right down to the little actuators there for the nozzle. I don't know what those are called, but very cool. I don't know if that's molded or if that's 3D printed, but just super nice, you know, engine nozzles back there. They got the look of this airplane right. You know, they're killing it over there. There's your Outrunner motors back there. They're killing it over there at HOBBYZONE. This is only the second, guys, in a lineup of really nice, you know, 64mm jets. I really hope they're gonna make more of these, folks, because this is just one sweet model. Again, guys, check it out at HOBBYZONE. It's in our links in the description below, so check it out there. And we really appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned for the flight demo video. We will have that in the upper right-hand corner of this video once it's available. So please be sure to like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. And again, the notification bell is going to let you know when we have new videos like this out, because guys, we got a lot of really cool videos coming, a lot of new stuff coming, so stay tuned to the channel. And please, guys, do us a favor, hit that like button. The like button with the thumbs up there, that's the thing that that actually sets off the YouTube algorithm, that really helps us out, because it tells the algorithm to share the video with more people, so we get more viewers out of it, and we do appreciate you guys doing that for us. So as far as, again, the receiver and all that stuff that we talked about a little while ago, we'll get that in there. We'll talk about that during the flight demo, talk about control throws and CGs and all that stuff once we get out there to the field and all that stuff. So anyway, guys, we do appreciate you guys watching RC Informer. Stay tuned. Check this out again at HOBBYZONE. We appreciate you guys watching RC Informer, and as always, guys, we'll see you next time.